All right. So, yeah, our sound was cut off there. So, good morning, everybody, again, and I hope that each and every one of you had a good night's rest. Um, my rest was okay, but I don't know. Somehow, me and mornings can't get on. I've been struggling with this morning thing. I mean, this is a labor of love, eh? A labor of love, and boy, I tell you, getting up every morning ain't easy. I can be so glad when this election is over. So happy that I could lie down in my bed and sleep when my morning come. Oh yeah, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Yeah, the sound is up now. The sound is up now. Thank you, Tanya, baby. The sound is up. The sound is up. Somebody said bang the mute button and come out. I tell you, beer mornings just don't work out so good, man. That sometimes the brain ain't even clicking. I don't know how somebody do it. Got to get up every morning, same time to go walk. By me, I know why I do it by. It's a struggle for me, man. It's definitely a struggle for me. So hopefully, as the morning goes on, like now, we pick up a little speed. That mind I come on blazing. But anyhow, let me get into our conversation out of the small talk into this. Cricket, no, you can't talk to me right now, Cricket. Yeah, yeah. Just refresh your page, people. We're good to go. All right. So as you know, election is up and running. And interestingly enough, this morning I got a call from somebody who is overseas trying to book a flight, and they were telling me that the ticket prices bump up to. Oh my God, I apologize. Well, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, so they were telling me that the ticket prices bumped up to like $5,000, $6,000, and I went and looked for myself, and I'm getting like 1,000 US and change. So I don't know how that came about, but anyhow, I'm hoping that people are geared up and paying attention and ready for what may occur during this election. Remember, people are in position right now. They're enjoying their position right now. And for what we have seen over the past 7 years, what we have experienced, I don't think anybody in their right mind would take anything right now for granted. The political parties, I don't think that they would take any of the things that are happening for granted. You heard John L. Powell say, not even at all going on here again. If you don't live in Central, nobody come, they come vote. So if the people may know you better off not going there. I don't know if Spanish people are listening to them thing. I don't know if Haitian people or whoever else to come in here to listen to them thing. But me beg you, please. This election, I don't think people fully understand that. I think it's people kind of fed up at the shenanigans. And we're going to keep reminding them of how we were treated under this administration. There's enough blame to pass around, but at the end of the day, your experience should tell you something. I don't know how the flights them are going to go, but as I've said before, and I'll say it again, when things were normal, you could have looked to the ear and depended on the quote-unquote overseas vote, right? Oh my God, what is happening? You could have depended on them, right? But I should have done my stretch before I come here, But anyhow, people, I apologize. How this thing go on mashing me. So during normal times, you could have depended on the overseas vote. You can't depend on that anymore. All the parties here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but yeah, struggling, Tanya. All the parties in St. Kitts and Nevis need to make sure that your base vote, your vote on the ground is intact. You can't look to the sky anymore. Shenanigans will be pulled. Right? Shenanigans will be pulled. And so it is in your best interest to make sure that the people on the ground actually come out to vote. Many people are complaining that they have not seen the candidate as yet, but you must understand that these constituencies are very large. And you can't tell me, no, I understand that you have not seen the candidate yet. You would like to see the candidate, to have a conversation with the candidate. No problem. There are some people who have expressed that, hey, we don't want the canvases in we house because some of them chat too much and wait. This is why I tell people, watch how you live. Watch the things that you do. Watch the things that you say. Because you never know when you're going to be in a position where somebody's going to take a look at your behavior and decide if they want to deal with you or not. Being cantankerous and rambunctious and confusion are all well and good. Until you're a part of something and somebody's going to look at your behavior in the past and say, fine, I don't want nothing to do with that person. I hope you understand, I have heard people say, you could come, but not them there. Me no want them there in my place. People, these are serious times. These are serious times. Be careful how you behave. Because you never know when your behavior going to come back around against you. That's why they tell a lot of people who I talk to. Calm down yourself sometimes. You may want to get into the public squabble and the public display because you think you defend yourself. But somebody on the outside watching you may not know what the whole altercation was about. And they're going to use that to judge you, whether you like it or not. And you may not have an opportunity to explain. You understand? Especially when you get into back and forth with people on social media. Social media is far reaching. The other day it could have been mixed up in a back and forth social media thing, but me not do that there. I'm sorry. Me not do it. Not that I can't do it, mind you. I could. Because I keep telling you, a sunny point me from and my tongue dirty bad. But at the end of the day, I got to manage my behavior. I got to manage my emotions. Because they could come back and haunt you. And that is what's happening in this election. People's actions, people's words coming back to haunt them. And haunt them bigly. That's why the up and down spend so much money right now. Trying to spin and twist, turn the conversations to greet them. To suit them, sorry. Hear me about greeting. I was just about to greet somebody. I read the word greetings there, so you slip in. Yeah. Be mindful of the things that you say and do. Because in what got on your body that defile you is what come out. So I'm encouraging every single individual right now who can hear, who can see, who will see. Participate in the election. If you went through some struggles, if you went through some adversity, if you saw anything at all that you think needs fixing, listen to the various political meetings, listen to the various interviews, and take from it what you will and decide what you will do with your vote. I have seen enough postings on social media where people say, oh, One in particular, a gentleman said, oh, because they feel like I align with them people, that's how we're going to vote. And because they feel like I associate with them people, that's how we're going to vote. None of them come talk to me yet. My lad, my empresses, I am imploring every single one of you. I am pleading with every single one of you. You have seen what has taken place. You know the struggles. You have seen the struggles. If you was a person who liked to go party and go do your thing and live your life how you want to live, you were restricted. No provisions at all were made for you. You were called an enabler. You were called a super spreader. You were called all kind of things. And you mean to tell me you're going to sit down there and don't vote? You don't go up and down with the politics. You don't go up and down in nobody's face. You never even go to put on a shot. Because that don't mean nothing. Because we don't see people in different shot, in different functions. Everything mix up. But you can't tell me that you're not paying attention. You can't tell me that you're working, you're getting your salary, you're going to the shop, you're going to the gas pump, you got to pay electricity bill, you got to bring in things up the port, you have a child in school. What happened if the child gets sick? You still living a life, you know. A politician don't have to come to you personally and talk to you. You can see what is happening in your country. You live it every single day. The politician that sits right now in cabinet determines how our economy will flow. Yes, there are external factors, but there are things that they can do, that they can come up with to give you an easier life. But they have to have the cabeza for it. They have to have the plan. They have to have people around them that can even give them ideas and nudge them in the right way. Keep them honest. You may say that but me don't deal in politics, me don't even talk politics, but politics affect your living. Even if you're a Rasta, you want to jump on a bus. What happened? You don't think bus price is going to go up? Who you think determined the bus price? Not the government. You go in the supermarket, you buy a piece of pumpkin. Yesterday it cost $10 a pound. Tomorrow it cost $20 a pound. Police still a bang down your chest who ganja. You plant a little ganja in the hills just to get you over so you could sell a couple pounds. And every minute soldiers are run through the mountain and pull up your ganja. And you want to tell me that don't affect you? You know why that affecting you? Because you have politicians sitting down in there who you don't want to have nothing to do with, determining how your life go. So you might as well pay attention to what's going on, sift out the bullshit. And I know sometimes that listening to politics could become overbearing. I know. I myself to get weary of it and me like to talk politics. But me just know what to sift out and what to sift out. When certain people call me phone, me don't know about to answer them because me know where them are come with. If it's something intriguing, one not going to stimulate my mind, answer the phone call. But me don't get all kind of things in my phone, but you got to know what to sift through. They're going to be all right. You got to know what to sift through. What to take, what to dismiss. You got to predetermine that. Just like how you get up and you decide, okay, but I like reggae music, but me like Morgan Heritage. I prefer Chronics. I like dancehall, but me not Sadiq Sean Paul. I prefer Vibes Cartel. Everything in life is a choice. Take what you want, leave what you don't. Same thing with politics. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard. So you might want to come up with all kind of reasons as to why you don't want to vote. But hey, you better decide to get up and go vote. Because a lot of people stayed home in 2015 and 2020. The voter turnout was low. And look what we got. Look what we got. So get up and be a part of the process. And if next time around, who you choose ain't come up, get rid of them. It ain't matter. I will help you get rid of them. So, I understand that you would want to see the politician directly and speak to them directly and tell them what you go say directly. All that well and good. But this could tell them what you got to say directly to. Your ex. And you could also encourage and influence other people who are around you. You don't have to influence you could influence your crew. So get up and be a part of the process. You got 3 choices in St. Kitts. I think you got about 3 in Nevis as well. Might be more, I'm not sure. Because right now everything is, yeah, we're tired. But you have choices. If you're a sports enthusiast, listen to the different parties. What are their plans for sports? Sports development. How do they intend to make some millionaires out of our sportsmen and women? A sports program to support whatever discipline it is in sports. You got children, what is the education plan? See which one of them attack proper education that, interests you. We had interviews with Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, what his views are in education. I am yet to hear an education plan from the other parties. I have not heard it. If they have said it, then I have not heard it. But if somebody knows where it is that one of the other parties made a pronouncement on education, you could point me to it, and I'll be glad to listen to it. Weigh it out between what Dr. Hanley said and see which choice I would want to make. Which team would give me the better education plan? You come down to healthcare. Which team sounds like it really has a passion and a plan for healthcare in St. Kitts and Nevis? This is how you're supposed to think about it. Which team got the better plan? Which team sound like they're more in tune with what's going on the ground and have a plan for it? Industry. If you're into the orange economy, services, small business, which teams sound like they actually have a plan to move that sector forward? That's how you should be thinking. Not you seeing them waiting for a politician to come to you. Social media platforms up and down the place with all of them message. Listen to the leaders of each parties when they make their presentations. See which one of them sound like you actually know what he talk about. And not just using words. Madam Herbert, I would love to see an actual debate. To have all the politicians them do a debate on various issues. Hear what their plans are. Give a timeline. But I know that there are certain politicians in this race who would not subject themselves to that. And if they would want to, the bright people them around them gonna encourage them not to. I mean, look what Moyla Bax said about Val Henry. Moyla Bax was ready to go to his people and talk to his people. He was already selected as the candidate. But the smart person tell him, don't tell him that you're the candidate. Tell him you're the presumptive candidate. Using words to shape reality as opposed to expressing reality. Tell them you're the presumptive candidate. That to me speaks volumes. We the people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve better. When I going to see some people post on Facebook, oh, it come like the West Party, them could only cuss. I mean, I hear them half or nothing. When they're not to themselves, they don't listen to other party political meetings. They know they don't listen it. And you hear some PLP people, I say the same thing. Oh, they will say them not talk like they like people. And they know they don't tune in to hear. Labour people I say the same thing. When last you listen to a PAM meeting? When last you listen to a PLP meeting? The only thing you want to hear is Labour. Well, how do you know what the West have to offer? How do you know? I mean, it's not like you have to watch it live because most of these political parties happen simultaneously. It's not that you have to sit down and listen to all of them at the same time. You could always go back and listen. But how do you know what they say if you don't tune in? The onus is on every one of us to just look, listen, and then make your decision. For me personally, based on a couple of things, and I don't pay attention to practically everything. I'm just sitting and listen. Up to the other me now on the PLP Live, I listen to Timothy. They want to know what me doing there. What me doing there? Me listen. Me want to hear if he gonna say something that piques me interest. That I could safely say, oh, okay, that sound good. Okay, that ain't sound good. That's how me went there for. Sit down and me listen to a meeting. Sit down and me listen to CCM. Tune in to Andy Mark. The other me went Nevis go play. A Thursday night, CCM had a meeting. DJ in there play. And me out there in the corner with my phone to my ear. I listen to what CCM say. Because me want to hear for myself what is they saying, what they have to offer. That I'm not judging them based on my own political preferences. Let me hear what they have to say. And then I could then make my own determination. That is why when I speak and have conversation with people, me could pull me files as to say who say what, when, and where. Sometimes you ask some people, well, where you hear that? Like this foolishness we're going on with the pop right now and the peace. I said, well, where you hear that? Oh, look, the little cutout thing there. I said, so did you listen to the entire interview? No. You just listen to the piece where your party cut out and push out Gio. And that's the way you carry as gospel. And then when people present the full context to you, you can't believe because you done brainwash yourself. But be that as it may, people need to. It is important that you, as an individual, make yourself aware of what every single one of these parties have to offer within the context of who was just in and who wasn't in. There's a conversation going on trying to make you believe like the last 7 years did not happen. That is deception. It happened. They would want you to believe that we want another go at it because who was there with they wasn't working out. Okay. Remember you tell us that 5 more than 20? So how come now you want to wipe out 7 and go back to the 20 as if 2015 to 2022 didn't happen? Don't allow people to pull out into them kind of foolish conversation there. That didn't make no sense. That makes no sense. So somebody rape you for 2 years, straight, practically every night. And then when they stop, then I want you to remember the 2 years where they didn't rape you. Just remember how good I treat you, them time there, but don't remember the bad things. No. That's how abusers justify the shit that they do. They want to make you believe that the last 7 years did not happen. Well, it happened. All of us was there. It happened. It happened. And you need to give an account for it. This is where things will get sticky. And this is where things will get a little tense. When you ask for accountability, you see the word accountability? It mashing up a lot of politicians. And the reason why you don't mash them up so much is because they're not accustomed to it. Every other political supporter want to hold another politician accountable, but never theirs. You can't tell a Labour person something about the candidate, but they want to be able to say it about your candidate. You can't tell a PAM person nothing about the candidate. They don't want to hear it. They don't give a they don't care. But they want to be able to tell you about yours. Same thing for CCM. Same thing for NRP. What's for PLP? As far as PLP is concerned, all the candidates just born and come from heaven. Straight out of the master's bosom. But everybody else bad. When I listen to some people talk about Timothy, you would swear to God that Timothy just wake up 2 weeks ago. You would swear to God that Timothy just come on the political scene the 10th of May. Because the man ain't want to talk about nothing prior to the 10th of May. You know? He just wake up out of his slumber the 10th of May. So anything from the 10th of May go back, Timothy involved in that. Oh yeah? He no want to talk about the 7 years of team unity when he was the prime minister of a team unity government. Yeah? The man not talk so. The man didn't even want to mention the 18 years that he spent with Labour. Not even that he wants to remember. Just remember me from the 10th of May go down. A brand new now, I just reach. So don't ask me nothing about me tenure as the PLP Prime Minister, which was in truth and in fact the best Prime Minister ever in the history of this country. But I already with now. I want to be a PLP Prime Minister now. And not even a radio interview. Coming to the masses of the people to have a conversation. Now, mind you, either hit Pam and CCM hard, you know. But at least these men come into the media to at least have a conversation. On radio. Take phone calls and so. Not Tim. Tim may want to be accountable for nothing. Don't want to face the people publicly. Just his supporters. He comfortable in his own little zone. Surrounded by people who just adore him. Don't want to be uncomfortable. At all, at all, at all. That ain't good for we politics. That is not good for our politics. And a long time he practiced this, you know. Long time since in Labour time. Whenever you see Tim come to your radio station to do an interview, when he was Minister of Agriculture and so, Tim come with a whole paper float, the whole desk with paper. No really want to take no questions, just want to preach. Just wait. He not really into that. And I have been observing this for the longest while. When last you hear Dr. Harris on an interview? When last? You can't ask a question about nothing. And you can't even count the interview with Nital. You can't count that there. Not that. You cannot count that there. That's the last interview I think I heard him at. And you can't count that there. Either hit Pam and CCM hard because they came out and they were talking the most. And so I was able to ask them a question about what they said or what they were saying. You hear? You can't question nothing. You can't even call in and ask Timothy a question. The man has not presented himself to the media as yet. And that to me speaks volumes. When you're talking about accountability, you can't hold Timothy accountable. And therein lies the danger in him becoming Prime Minister again. Because if Mark and Sean them could not hold he accountable, what makes you think Stachio, Talbot, Jackie, Mark, Nubian, what make you think that them there, brand new to politics, could hold Timothy accountable? Yes, you may love your party. We love the PLP. Hey, Timothy's a good man. Okay, cool. All right then. But after all the pomp and ceremony, and we boil down to the nitty-gritty, what makes you think that these people could keep Timothy Harris honest? Labour couldn't, PAM couldn't, CCM couldn't, but somehow we're supposed to believe that Talbot and Stachio could keep Timothy on the straight and narrow. So we don't want no accountability at all in government. None whatsoever. Them things there, them days they ain't available to good governance no more. Oh my God. All right, folks, I'm getting a telephone call here about my guest. Let me just step away for a little bit and come right back. Don't move, I'm coming back. Right, so people are now catching on because I just got a WhatsApp here. Don't just ask what his plans are because he's not a new candidate. Ask where all this money Timo got coming from. Why Keon people still got a water problem till now after 7 years? Why a new hospital is not constructed after 7 years? You see, these are the kind of questions that Timothy don't want to answer. And if you do answer them, I bet he gonna tell you, Ashan and Mark them fault. They're not in a shop to work in the cabinet. Well, how you want to tell me for 7 years they're in a shop? You come in 2020 and tell us this is the best team ever, and they say you was the best prime minister ever. But nobody wants to give an account for 7 years. Nobody. I mean, aren't we worth even just a little bit? Even if you don't value us, at least a little explanation as to why this thing went down the way it did. I've been hearing people, like up to yesterday, one of the fake profiles pop up. EK, we like you, but why is it you don't go so hard on the Prime Minister after all that he has done? I say, okay, you really want to have a conversation or you just come to abuse me or whatever and tell me about my soul food? But I want to have a conversation with you. I say, okay, my lad. List for me all of the things that he has done. You say, after all that he has done, list for me what those things are. Well, you know, partner man never even start. The next thing out of his mouth is, but Ike, but we gonna look after you. What is your want? I'm like, dude, me no want nothing, me alright. What make you think I want something? So instead of engaging me in a conversation to back up the things that you are claiming were done, all the things that he has done. Well, let's name them. Let's go down the road now, man. Let me name them. Let's go by them one by one, all that he has done. The man gonna go ask me why it is me want they gonna look after me. Me tell him me want looking after the man. Somebody say, how one the fake profile voice? Watch. He go be a man. You know the difference when a man attack to you and when a woman attack to you. And you know the difference when a gay guy attack to you. You could tell the difference. Me don't talk to enough people to know the difference between the patterns. What you say? Tell me. Because you can't tell me, oh, he built 15 houses. Okay. Well, all that well and good, but you couple that with some price control for rent. You couple that with job creation. How much jobs have we created? How is our economy doing? Because what the ECCBS say and what Timothy say are two different things, you know? And these things are supposed to correlate. But you can't get to ask Timothy no question because he not present himself. He not present himself to the electorate. He not present himself. He presenting himself to his supporters. Okay, fine. They don't support you, my lad. But when you're going to have a regional interview, you see Timothy and any of the regional media houses around the Caribbean region doing an interview? When this thing was going on with the doggy situation, with the motion of confidence, by Doggy were having interviews here, there, and everywhere, trying to explain his case. And nobody did want to hear it. No, Timothy Nopananga explain nothing to nobody. So you can't even say, bye, watch here. He just said that in the interview, I'm going to hammer him on that. You got to wait for a public meeting to see what's going on in Timothy's head and his mind. No explanations. As the chairman of the cabinet, based on what Mark said, why didn't you make sure that the water situation was dealt with? You left it up to your minister. So I wasn't holding one another accountable. At all. No accountability. And I'm saying that at some point in time, a little bit of accountability would have been good. Just a little bit. Not much. A little bit. Just to explain to us why these things wasn't accomplished. But he might not present himself to nobody. Just his supporters them. Now, how are we supposed to take that as an electorate? If you are thinking, and this is where I said to people, make sure that you listen to everything as much as you possibly can so that you could make a proper decision as to who would be best to run this country. But be that as it may. Our guest, Sean Richards, is ready, so we are going to pause for a short break and get him up on camera, set and prep to go. Stay with us. We'll be right back. right, folks, we are back. We are back. Welcome back to everybody who's logged on. Be sure, if you have not shared the live as yet, please share the live now. Get your friends and families on here quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right, so we have Sean Richards, the leader of the People's Action Movement, here with us this morning. Mr. Richards, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well.
Good morning, Mr. Flanders, and good morning to all of your listeners. Indeed, I am doing very well, so
All
thanks
right,
for
well,
this morning.
well, great to have you, sir. I'm guessing that you're already on the campaign trail.
Yes, I actually just completed my turning point episode for this morning, so I have now joined you. I am actually trying to get to a location where I can park and really get into the meat of our discussion this morning.
All
But
right.
yes,
All right. So while you get there and you find a parking location, turning point, what is that all about?
a turning point is a series of Facebook lives that I do almost every day during weekdays. And I speak to different issues and how a government of the People's Action Movement intends to bring relief to persons who are facing these particular issues. For example, this morning, the Turning Point episode spoke to persons with disabilities. That one would have taken place down at the McKnight Community Center, where I was able to speak to Mrs. Mary Nurse Clark and also one of the participants in the programs there at Trevor Douglas. She would have outlined for me some of the challenges facing persons with disabilities and what she thinks can be done from a government standpoint in terms of ensuring that those particular individuals who have disabilities can live a more comfortable life in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right, pretty good. I think that's something that we definitely need to look into. I spoke about that a couple of days ago about making provisions for people with disabilities to at least contribute to our society. Even though some of them might have their disabilities, they still would want to be a part of our society in and contribute in any way that they could. So if that's one of your plans, I'm definitely on board with that. But I would want to ask you a couple of questions this morning. As you know, we are here where we are. And I would want for you to take a couple of minutes and just take us back through the past 7 years of a team unity administration in terms of your accomplishments, your plans, and what really happened.
Thank you for the opportunity to do so. The Team Unity administration took office in 2015. As most persons would be aware, the Team Unity administration consisted of the People's Action Movement, the Concerned Citizens Movement, and the People's Labour Party. Prior to the elections of 2015, those three political parties had come together and had determined that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, all of the people, hence Team Unity. We had signed the Charlestown Accord.
Hello?
We indicated to the public what we intend to achieve as a government. We spoke about our good governance agenda. We spoke about poverty alleviation. We spoke about reducing the high crime rate, especially the gang violence that had been taking place in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Generally, we spoke about bringing a better standard of living to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We began doing exactly what we proposed to do for the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The PAP program, for example, was introduced to help to alleviate poverty. The peace program was introduced as a means of reducing crime and gang violence. And indeed, we were able to achieve such. We said, for example, we would also reduce VAT, and so we reduce VAT on food in particular. We made a commitment to the farmer sugar workers who had been aggrieved in terms of the previous payments that they had received, that we would bring some redress to that particular situation.
Hello?
So, hello,
Yes.
hello.
You dropped out there for a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, sorry. Yeah, continue.
And we also said to persons, for example, in terms of housing, that we would ensure that we build bigger houses, better houses at a reduced mortgage rate. Again, we did exactly that. In terms of capital projects, we had a very aggressive agenda in terms of capital projects, and persons would have seen the implementation of many of the capital projects, the resurfacing of the Island Main Road, the construction of the second cruise ship pier, the building of the new police station in Sandy Point, the paving of roads in several different communities, the Old Road Bay Road, etc. I must confess, though, that Team Unity also had its fair share of issues. And those issues basically came from one man. One man who had been given the opportunity with one seat in the first term to be the Prime Minister. That is Dr. Harris. And though we had our fair share of issues, we continued as best as possible to keep in mind that we are there to serve the people. And so we continue to trod on, we continue to work on behalf of the people. Again in 2020, we went to the electorate and we asked the electorate to give Team Unity a second opportunity. And indeed, the electorate provided us with a second opportunity. I would be the first to confess at this particular point in time that after the elections of 2020, I was approached by my colleagues and asked to be the Prime Minister because, as I said, we had issues with Dr. Harris even at that particular point in time. However, the Charlestown Accord that I referred to earlier spoke to two terms as a Prime Minister, and that is also part of the good governance agenda. And we had went to Parliament trying to get that particular legislation implemented, but the opposition had refused to support it. I am a man, though, who once I give my word, I am committed to my word. I am somebody who is trustworthy. And so I said to my colleagues that the commitment that we gave speaks to two terms, and I am committed to that two terms and nothing beyond those two terms. Unfortunately, though we continued to try to get Dr. Harris to reform his ways and to recognize that the government isn't about him only, it's not about his constituency only, it is not about his family in particular, but it is about all of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis getting their fair share, getting the chance, just like his family members, to benefit from the resources of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Harris continued to do the things which are against good governance, which are against the people of St. Kitts and Nevis getting their full fair share. So things came to a head. When things came to a head, we still made every single effort to get Dr. Harris to reform his ways. He stubbornly, he bluntly refused. We are now at a crossroad where we have general elections taking place 2 years into the second term of Team Unity administration. As we know, those elections are due to be held on the 5th of August.
No, I know the People's Action Movement would have went on an extensive town hall meeting series to outline some of those differences that you observed and saw and went through with Dr. Harris. So my question is, can you mention some of those things and how detrimental were they to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and ultimately good governance?
Yes, I can mention some of them, and I do believe that, They're absolutely detrimental to good governance. One of them that I spoke to recently is the building of a prison for $2.4 billion. We are seeing the sale of our passports, some 5,500 passports at a cost of 175,000 US dollars per passport to support the construction of a prison. We have said, and we totally believe, that the construction of a prison for $2.4 billion cannot be given priority, should not be given priority over so many other issues in the Federation. Healthcare is a concern for many persons. And we do believe that rather than the construction of a prison at $2.4 billion, healthcare is a pressing priority. One of the top concerns you get coming from persons throughout the length and breadth of St. Kitts and Nevis is that of employment opportunities for our young people. Too many of our young people are unemployed. If you take that $2.4 billion, it could be used to do so many things for our young people. It seems as though Dr. Harris is sending a message to our young people that their incarceration is far more important. It is a greater priority than assisting them with finding jobs. You have young persons and middle aged persons looking for an opportunity to start businesses, to expand businesses. Again, that must be a priority because it is an investment in people. It is an investment in creating jobs for our people. It is an investment in empowering our people. And so that too must be a priority. Now, let me speak to some of the other injustices. When you're going to get a donation for 15 houses from Venezuela and you build all of those homes in your constituency only, you are saying to the rest of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis that you don't deserve any. You do not deserve your fair share. There are cases in terms of the good governance agenda where we would have impressed upon Dr. Harris that we need to bring some of these particular pieces of legislation to Parliament. And we have been ignored over and over again by Dr. Harris. Dr. Harris has refused, for example, to share with the rest of the cabinet pertinent financial information relative to the operations of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have questioned him about it to disclose the information to the rest of us. And week after week, you would simply be given an excuse. One of the reasons, perhaps, why he refused to do so is that the Charlestown Accord also speaks to ensuring that Nevis receives its fair share of proceeds from the citizenship by investment program. He has stubbornly refused to follow what the accord says and has found all sorts of excuses as to why he is not able to follow it. The last thing that he said, for example, is that he has invited the World Bank to come in and do the necessary accounting to provide a report. Now, we have young, intelligent persons working in the Ministry of Finance who are quite capable of doing that particular assessment. But again, we recognize that Dr. Harris is playing games. And these are just some of the reasons why we decided that in the best interests of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, we must take a different direction. We must take a different path to Dr. Harris. When you have so many persons out there who qualify to be on the PAP program, but Dr. Harris is picking and choosing who is to go on the PAP program, when he has determined that persons were living overseas, when he has determined that you have two and three persons living in the same house, who he has given approval to go on the PAP program, and you have constituents who are far more deserving and can't get on, it sends the wrong message to the rest of the public. You have a similar situation in terms of jobs, etc. And we, as representatives of the people, could not afford for that to continue anymore.
All right. Now, Mr. Richards, I want to go back just a little bit to the whole prison thing, because that blew up to a significant level in the media. So I want you to take us back through, because Dr. Harris has accused the People's Action Movement and CCM of being in cabinet when that matter came up for discussion, and all of you would have approved that project to go forward. So you spoke of the passports being used to fund this. Was that in the discussion in cabinet in terms of how the prison was going to be funded to be built?
Okay, a very good question. We in cabinet discussed the construction of a prison for $88 million, not the
Mhm.
construction of a prison for $2.4 billion, as is now being pursued. Dr. Harris never disclosed that that is the total that he is now looking at in terms of the construction of the prison, as opposed to the $88 million that was presented to us as the cost for constructing the prison. Dr. Harris never disclosed to the cabinet that his brother would be involved in the sale of passports for the prison project. Dr. Harris never disclosed to the cabinet that the construction of the prison has even started, and that he has a brother, a next brother, who is involved in the clearing of the land for that prison project. While it is that, yes, we knew to some extent how it would be financed, we did not know the magnitude of this $2.4 billion. Additionally, I would go so far as to say that in terms of the construction of the prison, I don't think any member of cabinet actually saw the plans in terms of what the final product is supposed to be looking like. We never agreed that a next family or friend would be involved in providing security services, and that a plant would be constructed to build blocks close to the prison site, perhaps for the purpose of selling blocks to the prison. Some persons, including your EK, may have heard one of those turning points episodes where the gentleman, Mr. Ham, said that no blocks have been sold as yet to
Mhm.
the prison project. This is not what we agreed to in cabinet. And so while we agreed to the construction of a prison, we also did not agree for the construction of the prison to be given priority over so many other pressing issues.
Hmm. That's quite interesting. But thank you so much for answering that. In terms of the poverty alleviation program, is it just giving $500 and that's the extent of the program, or is it more intricate in terms of lifting people out of poverty? Because if you look around the world, there are conventions and markers by which a poverty alleviation program has to follow in order to get people from one socioeconomic standard to the next. And as I've observed and heard, the poverty alleviation program is just to give you $500. So, if I am wrong, could you explain to us, the viewers and listeners, how it is that the team unity set up the PAP program?
When the poverty alleviation program was conceptualized, it wasn't about merely giving persons $500. It was about helping to move the less fortunate out of poverty, to equip them to be able to live a better standard, to have a better quality of life. As a matter of fact, when the program was actually being put in place, the discussions surrounded persons being able to use the $500 for specific purposes, to be able to buy food, to be able to pay the electricity bills, to be able to assist them, for example, if you have a house from NHC, to be able to help to pay the monthly mortgage towards that house. For healthcare purposes, that is what we perceived that the $500 a month would be used to. I can go further to say that discussions were being held in terms of giving persons a card. The money would be loaded on a card, and you would be able to use that card at specific merchants when you receive the $500 at the end of each month. So, for example, NAT would be able to accept it. For example, Skelec would be able to accept it. Grocery stores would be able to accept it. And not that you get the $500 and you're able to do whatsoever you feel with the $500, which may not necessarily improve your standard of living, but cause you to perhaps see a decline in terms of the quality of your life. For example, if someone receives that $500 and the person, I mean, goes and to the casino and gambles off the $500 really and truly hasn't benefited that particular individual. And so these are some of the concerns that we had with just giving it to persons without ensuring that some standards are being put in place so that you're able to measure, you're able to see how persons have been able to improve their standard of living because of that $500 EK.
Okay. All right. Now, if you are successful at the next election, how does a PAM CCM coalition intends to do things differently to what we have seen when the three of you were in government? Now, you spoke of Dr. Harris's behavior. You gave an account of his propensities for victimization and, of course, nepotism. How can the people of St. Kitts and Nevis be assured that if a PAM and CCM government gets back into office, that the necessary steps, I mean, I don't want to go as fast as say that you're Timothy Harris, but I mean, reality has dictated that when people gets into that position, their personalities tend to show a little bit more. So, what assurance can you give to us that things will be done differently? What will be your priorities and in what time frame? Because when Team Unity got into government, it was said to us that nobody would crack a whip behind the government and that the government is young and the government needs time to get its feet wet and that kind of thing. So now that you've had a go at it for 7 years, how will you be approaching government if you are successful?
Firstly, let me say, Ike, that if we were happy with what was being done, if we felt that this is how a government ought to operate, we would have never departed from Dr. Harris. So persons must first judge us based on that. We said this isn't right. We said that the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve better, and we can no longer continue to be part of this. So we have shown by our very own actions that this is not the type of government that we support for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We feel that government must be more inclusive. Persons must be respected. Persons must not be victimized. It must not be about one family. It must not be about the building of prisons, but about uplifting people. So that is the first thing that I said to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The second thing that I would say is I have served as a minister of government for the last 7 years. And I think the record is there to show I have been very approachable. I have worked on behalf of all of the people, regardless of which political party that they support. I am someone who people can trust. I don't necessarily determine that someone must get a job, someone must get piece of land, someone must get their share of the resources because of the political party that individual supports. As a matter of fact, I would have stood up to Dr. Harris in regards to persons that he wanted to victimize and said to him, I am not supportive of it and I will not be part of it and I will take no such action as you have recommended. If you look at the other colleagues in Team Unity, you would come to that same realization. Look across the waters to, for example, to Nevis. It's the same. You don't hear persons over in Nevis making the accusations that whether it is Eric Evelyn, Alexis Jeffers, or Mark Brantley over in Nevis victimizing persons, denying persons of opportunities. You don't get that. Again, our actions would set to persons that we are about a better governance. And part of it is the relationship must be about trust and mutual respect for each other. And we have developed that trust, we have developed that mutual respect for each other. We are people centered. We are focusing on the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, which is what persons elected us to do, to focus on their issues. And that is what we did for the last 7 years while being part of the Team Unity administration. We tried our very best to keep Dr. Harris on that path of looking after all of the people, but ultimately we failed in doing so. And so we have come back to the people and we have said to the people, give us an opportunity to work on your behalf. Put us in government. Let us continue to build on the successes achieved by Team Unity, but more importantly, to put a number of other programs in place which will benefit and move forward the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right. So before we get to the next question that I want to ask you, I want you to expound a little bit on some of those plans and programs that you may want to continue or may want to introduce that you weren't able to do so in the past 7 years.
Yes. Some of the plans and programs that we want to put in place, we want to develop what we call Jobs Now. Jobs Now is about creating jobs in particular for our young people. We have looked, for example, at the digital economy, and we want to put more of our young people to work in the digital economy. We want our young people to be able to develop apps. We want our young people to be able to develop software that we can sell to other companies, both locally, regionally, and internationally. We want our young people to be able to build some of the software sector that is being utilized in terms of some of the innovative products that we see on the market. More importantly, we are by far here in St. Kitts and Nevis the consumers of innovation rather than the creators of it. We want a society that is more innovative, and we will work towards building that particular society. We want to take more of our young people from the steps of unemployment to becoming employed and also to become employers. In that respect, we have also spoken about a dream fund of $100 million. What is the dream fund? The Dream Fund is a fund that will make from $20,000 to $200,000 available to persons who have a business idea. They have a dream, but they are not able to recognize that particular dream because they don't have the financial resources to do so. That fund will help them to recognize that dream. As part of that fund, we will also provide certain services, teach them management skills, accounting skills, marketing skills, etc. Because we also recognize that while some may have a dream, they may not have some of the other skill sets which will enable their business to be a successful one. We want to build 1,000 homes within the first term across all of the constituencies, not 15 homes in one constituency, but across all of the constituencies. Because we have heard the cries of so many persons about the need for homes here in St. Kitts in particular. We have spoken about healthcare. Within healthcare, we have looked at national health insurance because too many persons don't have insurance. We have heard the cries of persons who are seeking medical attention, sometimes locally, sometimes overseas, but they don't have the financial resources to do so. And as a result of that, some persons perish. That cannot be good coming from a government. Our healthcare has to be a priority. We have heard the cries of persons speaking about the JNF, the lack of services, and also the fact that the hospital lacks proper maintenance. We are committed to building a new hospital, but we are also committed to bringing more services and a better quality of service to those persons who have, for any reason, to utilize a JNF. Good governance. The term limits for the Prime Minister, we want to put that in place. We want to ensure that in terms of integrity in public life, it's not just a piece of legislation on the books, but a piece of legislation which is rather active. So these are some of the things that we want to look at. We have had the back and forth election after election about boundaries, about electoral reform. And so we also need to ensure that in terms of that particular piece of good governance agenda, that is enacted as swiftly as possible. There is a number of other programs that I have spoken about. As I said to you this morning, I visited persons with disabilities. And so we spoke about some of the programs that we intend to put in place for persons with disabilities. Last week, I think it was Friday, I had the opportunity to speak to one of our diamonds, one of our elderlies, about some of the concerns that that particular community has. Again, we want to have roving caregivers for them. We want to institute programs during the day that they can participate in. We want to ensure that our diamonds, they have access to insurance, they have access to pensions, etc. So just as they were able to build this nation, we continue to look after them. We continue to give them the love and the attention that they deserve as the persons who built St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Richards. The other question I want us to get into has to do with the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis, and that will take us on the road of revenue sharing, because your partner in all of this, Honorable Mark Brantley, has come out firing on all cylinders, citing that Nevis has not gotten its fair share of the CBI receipts. It was a part of the Charleston Accord, but the Prime Minister is pushing back and saying that the Honorable Mark Brantley did not bring anything formal to be put in place to deal with the revenue sharing or the fair share of the non-tax revenues. So I'm asking you, since that they're putting you up as Prime Minister, if the PAM-CCM coalition is successful at the polls, what will be your approach to this fair share argument? Will it be that you just take up the money from the CBI fund and just send it over to Nevis like that? Or will it be a policy that you guys sit down and craft with a formula that everybody's comfortable with, and then back that by a piece of legislation? How will you deal with it going forward?
First of all, let me say that ultimately the Constitution, which is the highest law of the land, speaks to the revenue sharing between St. Kitts and Nevis. That needs to be supported by a policy, because it can't be up to the whims and fancy of a prime minister of a government to determine how the revenues between St. Kitts and Nevis ought to be shared. So yes, the policy needs to be put in place to give support to what the Constitution says. Anything outside of that will continue to be a recipe for confusion. And I would go further to say that part of it must be not just in consultations with the Honorable Mark Brantley, but consultations with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to ensure that at the end of the day, all parties are fully satisfied and it is done in a transparent manner. Anyone who comes behind Sean Richards, anyone at the Ministry of Finance, be it in St. Kitts or Nevis, would be fully aware as to how the revenues from CCI or otherwise should be shared between St. Kitts and Nevis. Today we're speaking about revenue from the Citizenship by Investment program, but 10 years down the road, it might be revenue from a totally different source, from a totally different program. So no matter where the revenue comes from, it
Mhm.
backed up by policy, it must be backed up by legislation as to the sharing of the revenue.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, I want to move on to the election itself because a number of issues are currently being looked at that would cause some sort of hindrance to a free and fair elections. Now, the voters list, as we all know, I would want to know how the Department CCM coalition is um, approaching that. Then you have the matter of those voters who don't reside on island. Have you mounted a pushback, so to speak, or contingency plan if for some reason the powers that be, i.e., Dr. Harris, pull some kinds of shenanigans? Because we experienced in 2020 that a lot of our nationals weren't allowed to come in because of the COVID-19, and rightfully so, we understand. But this time around, now that the world is moving on from COVID-19, we expect that those protocols that hindered our nationals who live abroad would either be lifted or relaxed just for this time. I saw a letter from the Honorable Mark Brantley writing to the AG, and of course he copied the Prime Minister and other stakeholders with regard to this issue. So, what is the PAM and CCM plan to deal with all of these issues in terms of having a free and fair elections?
Ike, we will mount a vigorous campaign, whether politically, whether legally, or otherwise, if any attempt whatsoever is being made to deny persons from their right to vote, if any attempt is being made to have persons vote illegally, if any attempt whatsoever is being made to steal the elections by the PLP, we will mount a vigorous campaign. I can say to you, we have a legal team in place, and so that legal team is on standby to take any challenges that we may need to take to the court, to mount any objections that we may need to mount. We are fully prepared to do so. Dr. Harris, of course, recognizes that he's on his last days. Eh, No question about that. He is on his last days, and a desperate man will do any act of desperation in order to try to hold on to power. But we will not allow it.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now, off the wall, before we wrap up, because we're running out of time, how do you intend to restore the peace, the tranquility, the trust in government? Now, this is off the wall. The trust in government, given what has transpired over the past 7 years. We have seen a greater division than we've never seen before in our politics. We have heard the statements by the various parties with regard to good governance, victimization, nepotism, and the whole 9 yards. Is there a concerted effort to mend all these things and not be antagonistic or bombastic as we have seen? Because I was present for the past 7 years, and I could tell you in uncertain terms, because I'm a plain speaker, that we saw some bombastic behavior from the team unity just because they won. And so now that Dr. Harris has come out by himself and he has even further cemented this tribalism and this division, if you guys are successful, how do you intend to mend the country after all this division?
Let me first go back to the last statement that you made. Now that Dr. Harris is by himself, you have really seen that sort of division, that sort of bombastic behavior, etc. That in and of itself should say to you where the victimization was coming from, where the bombastic behavior, etc., were coming from. They were coming from one man, Dr. Harris. Again, we were not supportive of such, and we took a decision that we will not continue to be associated with such. That again sends a message as to the character of the individuals comprising PAM and CCM. More importantly, though, I think it has to go further in terms of ensuring that you have that inclusiveness in terms of governance, inclusiveness in terms of respecting persons, harnessing the ideas and the resources of all persons, so that persons recognize that they have a voice, that they are deemed to be important in terms of the development of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We want to consult with all of the different stakeholders in terms of bringing good governance to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We want to include persons like you from the media because we recognize that persons like you, the media has an important role to play in terms of bringing about a different society, in terms of bringing out a greater respect, a better relationship between government and the people. So there are different ways from which we intend to approach it. I spoke to the good governance agenda, and the good governance agenda is also an important part of that. Because the people must have that confidence that legislation is there to give full effect to some of the things that they want to see. The two terms that we spoke about, the belief, the knowledge that in terms of boundaries, in terms of the whole suite of legislation governing elections in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, that there is no interference, that no one party has an advantage, etc. Those must also be covered by legislation. Ultimately, though, I think it is about all of us respecting each other, all of us working with each other, and all of us recognizing that despite which political party we support, that governance, good governance, is about all of us having a say. Good governance is about all of us being able to benefit.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Richards. And of course, your final words. What would you say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to encourage them or to give them that little nudge to choose you over the other two parties in St. Kitts and Nevis that are vying for a seat in government? And of course, if you have any upcoming events for the People's Action Movement, you can also wrap with that as well.
The People's Action Movement, along with its partner CCM, represent the best hope for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. PAM has gone into this election with the motto, keeping the promise. We therefore intend to keep our promise, our commitments to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. If you're looking for leadership that you can trust, you can find that type of leadership in Sean Richards. PAM has been on the political platform detailing all of its plans for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis after it is victorious on the 5th of August 2022. If you're looking for a better standard of living, you are looking for a better St. Kitts and Nevis, the People's Action Movement and the CCM best represent your choice, best represent your hope. So I said to you that on the 5th of August, I am looking forward to your support for all of the PAM candidates in the different constituencies. In constituency number 1, Natasha Shanigwe Brooks. In constituency number 2, Donald Powell. In constituency number 3, Corvin Milo Freeman. In constituency number 4, Lindsey Grant. In constituency 5, myself, Sean Richards. In number 6, we have Troy Flanders. And in number 7, we have Lincoln David Pell. We round off the team in constituency number 8 with Chesley Hamilton. Of course, over in Nevis, you have Eric Evelyn, you have Matt Brantley, and you have Alexis Jeffers. We do look forward to your support. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Richards, for affording us that little time in your day. And of course, we wish you safe and successful campaigning and a blessed day. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, Mr. Flanders. Thank you to your listeners. It was a pleasure being part of your show this morning.
All right. Have yourself a good day, sir.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So there you heard it from Mr. Richards himself. I know that some of you would have wanted me to delve into some more questions, and that's understandable. That's okay. But he's going to be on Issues with me tomorrow, and we'll have more time there. So we're going to dive a little deeper into more things and more issues over there, because our time here is very limited. Interviews are from 9:30 until 10:30. So we have a very short window in which to get as much question as we possibly can into our conversation. All right? So please, relax all yourself, because see somebody done welling up, oh my God. No, hear that. They say me easy for him. So let me ask you, them question there. Not somebody question them why I been asked all the time. But anyhow, if you didn't answer them to you guys' liking, tune in tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to take phone calls over on issues. So, now that you've heard from Mr. Richards himself, his side of the story, the onus again is up to you to listen to him, listen to Dr. Harris, listen to Mark Brantley, listen to Janice Daniel, listen to Dr. Terrence Drew. Take into consideration the past 7 years and determine where your vote going. Me know where mine's a go. You better make sure you where you wanna go. I know why you want me to laugh at. Stop by my business. What's wrong with all you? I can't take on now, why you behave so? Oh my God, why you behave so? Why you behave so far? Why you behave so far? So, as I was saying, the time for you to make your choice, and as my good friends say, find your class. People, if they're horrible, they ain't got no kind of behavior. What's wrong with all you? We want the people them to come to the show and talk to us. If when they come here, you're going to bang them. Let me bang them when they're here, but when they come, you got to be nice. When people come to your home, you have to be nice. It's all your comments killing me, you know. The comment section here. But what me call you, sir? Well. Watch right. No, hear me and hear me well. Let's talk about it. Hear me and hear me well. And I'm going to say this, that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Some of us may have our own personal views as to what really transpired with Team Unity. I know I have mine. But at the end of the day, the questions were asked and the answers were given. For those of you who may want to go back and hear what those answers are, you can do so. You can digest them, you can internalize them, and you can make your choice. That's the great thing about democracy, you know. You have a choice. You heard what Dr. Harris been saying. You heard what Sean just said. And you heard what Dr. Drew is saying. You heard what Mark is saying. Make your choice. Make your choice. Gomze say, play this song again. Behave. Don't let me go talk hard to you. Behave. I must learn to behave. And stop being so rambunctious and bombastic. Because if I continue to be so, guess what's going to happen? Nobody going to want to come and we sure. What's wrong with all you? If I continue to behave, so nobody going to want to come down. Bunny Bum, what you say? When all of them sue freedom and was trying to shut down freedom and put you out of bread, EK, let me tell you something. And I'm glad you made a statement. Again, hear me and hear me well. And I'm glad me auntie just pop on. Because you see my grandmother, Mother Sil, sometimes Mother Sil talk and you don't understand a thing what a woman there say. Auntie a lie? Not a thing you understand what Mother Sil say. And it's only until you find yourself in a particular situation, it comes back to you what Mother Sil been a try say. And most of she teaches them come from the Bible. You hear? Sometimes your enemies come after you with a kind of vigor, seeking to destroy you. But what the enemy don't know is that no weapon formed against you will prosper. We don't do them nothing. You hear? All we did was to carry everybody message. Just carry everybody message. We carry Labour message, we carry PAM message, we carry CCM message, we carry NRP message, and now we carry PLP message. They say things about one another, and freedom get caught up in the fray. Timothy said, don't listen to Harvey. Nobody defend Harvey. That's okay. Now, we are in an election. People of St. Kitts and Nevis, if you love EK, if you love freedom, you love Junie, you love Bowl, you love Sister Sensia, you love Winch, you love Flames, you love Julie, you love Bonell. You understand? Clive, Jamie. I mentioned Junie, call him in twice because he belongs to him. If you have a love for us, and you have seen what these people, Team Unity, have done with regard to us, and you find it offensive and appalling, if you find it indespicable, posting your disdain on a Facebook Live is all well and good. But take it a step further. You hear? Take it a step further. Use your finger of democracy to defend Freedom FM. How that sound? Make sure that you use your finger of democracy and send a clear message to the people who you think meant Freedom FM, myself, and the rest staff harm. Send a clear message to them. Get your friends, get your family, get your co-worker, get anybody who you could get to stand with you and send a clear message to them who try to destroy freedom, that you won't tolerate that kind of thing. Coming in and posting it here, it's all good. It's good to see it. But send a clear message to the people who perpetuated it. Send a clear message to the people who wanted to see your Freedom FM, your DJs destroyed. Send a message to them. A clear message. You understand? Send the message. Send the message. No, give me the message. Don't give me the message. May want it. You know what I want? Let me tell you.
Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
Thank you very much, sir. So, as I said to all you all the time, and I'm sure you heard it all through your years growing up, action speaks louder than words. Get up. Hear what they are saying. Use your finger of democracy. Not this finger, this finger. Use your finger of democracy and send them a message for me. They can't see why it is your type. They cannot see why it is your type. But I guarantee you that if after the election count come in and then a walk, they're going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis said no to that kind of behavior. You can't tell me that you're a Rasta man and you love freedom. And you saw politicians trying to come after freedom, come after EK, your good Rasta brethren, and you now go. Because send a clear message to the politician, then will try to destroy your brethren. No. We ain't want that. Marching down the road with us is all right. Putting our one hour shot is all right. Listen to our every day is all right. That's all well and good. Posting a status is all well and good. But get up and send a message to them. That's what me want. That's what going to make me feel good. Somebody says, EK running for the next election? Yeah. Next election I running. And watch. Unless the country ain't running good, I running. If the country running good, I gonna be all right. Watch. I tell you already, you know. I don't care who run this country, you know. Just run it properly. If Timothy this bye. If Timothy the exercise just a little bit of decency and run this country properly like how we were supposed to run it, man, I don't give a shit. He could have stayed in the till forever and forever, amen. Main care. Just run it properly. Make sure that everybody got opportunities across the board. Make sure that the economy bubbling so people could make a sugar cane. Make sure that people got access to good, clean water. Make sure people got access to all the amenities that you need in order to live a good quality of life. Access to good food. Access to good education. You understand? Access to financing to start business, not just only here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but branch out across the world. How come we could get Chinese in Jamaica, Chinese in Grenada, Chinese all over? So we can get Kittitian all over too. supported by our own government. Just run the country properly. That's all I concern about. Run St. Kitts and Nevis properly. Not all this stupidness you hear, yeah. I could understand why some people take politics personal. Because you can't tell me that you are my friend and you support PLP and PLP are trying to put me on the Papa list. When me not have children? Because you want to be in government? Imagine the political party who you with hammering me. And you say me and your friend and you can't say nothing. That's a political party you want to be a part of? Then they want people to tell me, but Ike, how come you ain't a member of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party? Me? And then me can't tell them what me want to tell them? You must be mad. Oh, you must be mad. I would support, because that's my political preference. But me want to be in a position where me have to tell them too bad word, me give them too bad word. Leg bend on the story yet. The Constitution says I could give anybody a bad word if I want to give them a bad word. You hear? It's my right. So again, I said to you, see, I say Sean this and Sean that. Well, if you don't like Sean, if you ain't like what he said here this morning, use your finger of democracy. Not this finger, but this finger of democracy. And take them out. Simple. Me, Ike, I'm taking it very personal. Me too. By a lot of people, me going to start to pass straight and so on. If they don't send it to me, I don't send it to them neither. My, if I read out some of these comments here, right? Sean ain't gonna come back on no more show. Keep it. I ain't got no chill. No chill whatsoever. I got to fire early. May stay here with I this morning. Because I go make me go down a road that I really don't want to go down. So I am going to curtail this show here early. Right? Good. My job as an interviewer is to ask the questions. Right? However, the interviewee decides to respond, that's a matter for them. The onus is now on you to take what they say based on the questions that I ask and determine for yourself if you are going to support them politically or you are going to. All right. That's it. That's it. So, yeah, folks. I'm gonna end off this show here early today because I have got some things that I need to do before I go on radio this afternoon. What today be, Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. So, again, thanks to everybody. Buy me comment section. Look good on YouTube. Bye. Oh, somebody said they sent a question on WhatsApp, but he wasn't taking any question. I don't think I would have to get them to come on at 9 o'clock exactly when I start in order to be able to take questions, because that's just the way it is. Oh my God. People, I am going to leave you. I don't know. This morning I'm just extremely tired. I don't know what. I guess I'm not fully rested from my weekend as yet. Watch. I trying to watch some of these comments here out of the corner of me eye, and believe you me, they ain't nice. Stop it. Stop it. I got to for you. I ain't playing with you. Are you horrible? And are you horrible? Bad, 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 bad. I mean, water come up with you all. I, I mean, water come up me. Sis, you have a blessed day. You hear? May put up my camera no more. I believe when I'm gonna do interviews, I'm gonna just put up my logo, may put up my face. Cause are you judging me? Stop judging me. Stop it. It is not good. Stop it. Stop it. What? Sunshine Carib said, Sean, you and your secret society can have a night. What secret society? You see why I don't like to read comments? God talking about he ain't know anything about the peace program. Unacceptable, incompetent. Alrighty. Maybe we can get Grant next to ask him about the peace program, what he meant by that. But I don't know. I doubt Grant don't want to talk to me. So, people, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate each and every single one of you. Again, make sure that you listen to everything. Make your determination. I know where my ex going. I know who I am backing, and I have my reasons why I am backing who I'm backing. Make sure that you know what your reasons are. That's all I can say to you people. Vote Labour. Goodbye.
Ah!